All right, Shalom. First and foremost, all thanks and praises unto our power. Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham Wa Rakakwadash. Peace, blessings, much respect to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone, on down to the rest of the elders who rule well within Israel. Salutations to the hopeful elect throughout the four corners of this whole entire earth, no matter where, whom they may be, or what they may look like, pushing out this purified truth. To the rest of the church who believe as well, you men who may not be teachers or prophets, you women, sons and daughters also. And the water to Yahweh Shai, because without him enduring and going to that cross for the nation of Israel and the nation of Israel alone, none of this would even be possible whatsoever. Psalms chapter 94 and verse 16. Who will rise up for me against the evildoers? So notice it says against the evildoers. Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai has set up one thing against another. When we go out and minister, when we go out and teach this word, in a sense, we are in a battle. We're in a spiritual battle. We're standing up against opposition. Some people, they get offended at that. They'll say, oh, I'm not trying to argue. Well, really, what they're saying is they don't have a fighting chance spiritually, because we war in the spirit. But a part of us warring in the spirit is being fought with words. All right. These words are burning up people who aren't right in the spirit. And Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai has given certain men a bold spirit to stand against opposition. Psalms 94 and 16. Who will rise up for me against the evildoers? Or who will stand up for me against the workers of iniquity? So we're taking a stand for the Lord. And taking a stand for the Lord, you are against this world. You are against workers of iniquity. Let's hold this. And let's go to, don't want to go to Luke. Let's go to James. Chapter 4 and verse 4. Ye adulterers and adulteresses, know ye not that the friendship of the world is enmity with the power? Whosoever therefore will be a friend of the world is the enemy of the power. So to be a friend of this world, you are an enemy of the Most High. That is important to know. So reading Psalms 94 and 16, who will rise up for me against the evildoers? Those of this world are evildoers. And if you are a friend with those evildoers, you are against the Most High. But we, being in this ministry, those of us who believe in this faith, this gospel, we do have opposition. And our opposition are those of this world. Who will rise up for me against the evildoers? Who will stand up for me against the workers of iniquity? And those who are going to do that are those who have the spirit to do that. Those who have the spirit to stand in great boldness, according to Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 5. Let's go forward to Proverbs, chapter 25 and verse 9. Debate thy cause with thy neighbor himself, and discover not a secret to another. So when we go out in the open, we debate with our people, because our people, they come against us all the time. They actually come in the spirit of trying to strive against us. And then overall, it may end up coming off like it's, a pointless argument, but we're actually debating. And a lot of people are too emotional to understand that. But to strive without cause, you're just babbling. You're not coming out the scriptures. Now it's really becoming a waste of time. Debate thy cause with thy neighbor himself. So if our people come up and they say, they ask us, what are we teaching? We explain it, and then they don't believe it. And then we keep going into the scriptures. A lot of the times they're not really bringing out no scriptures. They're referencing things out of their own mind. But what we do, we just try our best to bring out the scriptures, because outside of that, it becomes a vain argument. But we debate by using the words of the Lord to get the point across, because it's about the words of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. Debate thy cause with thy neighbor himself, and discover not a secret to another. Let's go into that word debate in Hebrews 73:78. The word, it says reeb, but to strive, contend, to strive physically with words. So when we go out and we teach, we're striving, we're contending for the faith. It's like a battle, but it's a battle being fought with words, and these words are spirit. So it is a spiritual battle. Okay, and some people are too emotional to understand that. It's like a quarrel. So debate thy cause with thy neighbor himself, and discover not a secret to another. Let's jump back to Psalms 94:16. Who will rise up for me against the evildoers? Let's go into rise up in Hebrews 69:65. The word says kum, to rise, arise, stand, rise up, stand up, to arise, hostile sense. So that's the point. Sometimes when you debate your neighbor, it can come off as being hostile. And then Israelites on the sideline, they might see it as being immature. They might see it as pointless. But no, we go out there and sometimes it comes off as contentious. 1 Thessalonians First Thessalonians chapter 2 and verse 1. For yourselves, brethren, know our entrance in unto you, that it was not in vain. But even after that we had suffered before, and were shamefully entreated, as ye know, at Philippi, we were bold in our power. So being in this ministry, you have to be bold. Let's go into that word bold. Greek 39:55. The word says paresiazomahi. That's a real one right there, huh? So it says to use freedom in speaking, be free spoken, to speak freely, to grow confident, have boldness, show assurance, assume a bold bearing. And that's why people get mad at us. That's why people have a problem with us, because we speak in boldness. We speak with authority. We speak with assurance. And then they'll say, oh, well, I'm not trying to argue. Well, then you're not trying to prove your point. Really, if you say you're not trying to argue, really what you're saying is you have nothing to prove. You have no point to speak. There is no meaning in your opposition. We go out there with a point, a message, a reason, and we debate our cause in the sight of all these non-believers, because it's about the Lord's word, and the Lord's word being proven to be right over everything else. So we preach with contention and righteousness. We don't preach men who are sincere. We don't preach with contention in the sense of trying to get a name or because of jealousy or anything like that. But being in this ministry, seeing that we stand against the workers of iniquity, it's naturally going to come off contentiously. Let me take a sip of my water. First Thessalonians 2:2. But even after that we had suffered before, and were shamefully entreated, as ye know, at Philippi, we were bold in our power to speak unto you the gospel of the power with much contention. So being in this truth, you're battling. It becomes one against another. Those who are workers of iniquity against those who serve Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. That's why it was already asked, who will stand for the Lord? Why? Because you're going to face a lot of opposition. A lot of people are going to come against you speaking this word. And then at the same time, try to hide behind excuses like, I'm not trying to argue. Well, if you're not trying to argue, you have nothing to bring forth to the table. Now, we don't bring contention and wickedness. That's what these people in the world do. They bring contention and wickedness. They're not trying to really prove a point. They're not really trying to lead you nowhere. They're just trying to trap us up. But we are contentious in hopes to draw in the elect. Okay? As much as I don't really go out there to convince anybody, at the same time I do go out there to convince. So what I'm saying is I hope to wake up the elect, but I'm not out there to convince anybody else who's not of the elect. Nevertheless, the word's going to go out. So it says again, we were bold in our power to speak unto you the gospel of the power with much contention. So when we go out there, we're speaking with contention. Let's go into that word. In Greek 73, the word is agwan. An assembly, a place of assembly, especially an assembly meant to see games. So just like if you were to go to a game, you see one team against another, that's contention. So when you see us out there on the streets teaching and someone comes up arguing, they come up with a spirit of opposition, and we're breaking down the scriptures, and we're speaking amongst ourselves with voices that come off as being angry or aggressive or arguing. That's a part of being in this ministry. That's what people have to understand. Okay? The place of contest, the arena or stadium. The assembly of the Greeks at their national games. Hence the contest for a prize at their games. So we're out there contending. Generally, any struggle or contest, a battle. So we go out there, we battle with these words. These words are spirit. It's a spiritual battle. An action at law, trial. So we debate our cause when we go out there and speak these words. People have a lot of negative to say about this truth. So we're saying, okay, bring forth your reason. We'll bring forth our reason, but our reason is going to be using the scriptures. That's how we prove our point. Let's stay in 1 Thessalonians chapter 5 and verse 21. Prove all things, hold fast that which is good. So standing up for Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai is going out there and proving all things, proving that his word is going to stand. Okay, his word holds weight. Proverbs chapter 25 and verse 1. These are also proverbs of Solomon, which the men of Hezekiah, king of Judah, copied out. It is the glory of the power to conceal a thing, but the honor of kings is to search out a matter. And part of searching out a matter is listening to what somebody has to say and then bringing forth your reason if you disagree. That's how you get to the bottom of something. And seeing that there are men on this earth who have this truth, who have these secrets, there are other men who are going to oppose that. There are other men who are going to come in the spirit of opposition to try to overthrow what we're saying. All right? You can come in contention in wickedness or in righteousness. Romans chapter 2 and verse 7. To them who by patient continuance and well-doing seek for glory and honor and immortality, eternal life. But unto them that are contentious, so anyone who comes up and you're warring against this ministry and do not obey the truth, but obey unrighteousness, indignation and wrath. So indignation and wrath is coming to those who are contentious against this ministry. Now, although many are contentious against this ministry, we are still going to stand in boldness against all these evildoers. All right. That's why we become an enemy to many people, because we have this gospel. We have the truth. Let's close it here. Romans chapter 11 and verse 28. As concerning the gospel, they are enemies for your sakes. So the evildoers, those of this world, they become our enemies because we're speaking this gospel. We're speaking it boldly. It becomes a battle. It becomes one against another. Okay? As concerning the gospel, they are enemies for your sakes. But as touching the election, they are beloved for the Father's sake. So as much as the world comes up against us, as much as the world has a problem with what we're doing, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai is actually pleased seeing us stand for him. Seeing us stand in righteousness. Speaking these words correctly is highly important because we're not representing ourselves. We're representing Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. Okay? So being in this ministry, you will have enemies. You will have opposition. Let's go to one more scripture. This will be a good one to end it with. Because our fighting is not so much carnality, but spiritual. We're in a spiritual battle. Okay? So let's end it here. Jude chapter 1 and verse 3. Beloved, when I gave all diligence to write unto you of the common salvation, it was needful for me to write unto you and exhort you that ye should earnestly contend for the faith, which was once delivered unto the saints. So we are definitely in a spiritual battle. We are contending for the faith. We are standing against all of the Lord's enemies. We're facing a lot of opposition, but that's a part of the fight. But we have to keep going strong. And remember, you know, the battle is more spiritual than what it is carnal. But it's carnal too, because within this battle, we're wrestling against our own flesh. We're wrestling against a lot. We're battling against everything. But it's the spirit of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai that keeps us powered up and charged up and able to fight in this battle and overcome and conquer and to keep conquering. Even when it feels like you're not able, somehow, some way, you make it over those hurdles. Because Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai is using you. Okay, so we are definitely in a battle. We are definitely set up to what comes off as arguing to others, how others will say they're not trying to argue. Again, you're not trying to have any point or reason to bring to the table. You have to have somewhat of a sense of arguing, being challenged by doctrines that don't line up. That's just how it is, man. People can't be mad at that. People can't be offended at that. And if you're offended at that, it's just not for you. All right. You have different types of martial arts. And being in this ministry, I would have to say it is definitely a form of martial arts. Okay. And this is definitely spiritual warfare. So I'm going to go on ahead and give all thanks and praises unto our power. Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai Ba'ashem Wa Rakakwadash. Shalom.